I thought I was flying across the world to rekindle a friendship. Instead, I flew straight into betrayal and drama I never saw coming. Who knew a surprise visit would end up ruining her marriage and our entire friendship? Friendship, to me, has always been sacred. Growing up, I didn't have many people I could call true friends. I was the shy, bookish type, always in the corner of the classroom sketching in my notebook while the other kids played. But then came Anna. We met when we were 12, sitting side by side in our tiny middle school classroom. She was everything I wasn't, bubbly, confident, and effortlessly charming. She sat down next to me one day, flashed a grin, and asked if I wanted to borrow her new glitter pen. That was the beginning of everything. From then on, we were inseparable. We went to the same high school, spent summers at each other's houses, and shared every secret under the sun. She was the first person I called when I got my driver's license, the one who came over with ice cream after my first breakup, and the only person who could make me laugh until I cried when everything else felt overwhelming. By the time we were adults, she was more like a sister than a friend. Which is why her sudden engagement took me by surprise. She'd met Mark through a work conference overseas, and within a year, they were engaged. I adored Mark. He was warm, attentive, and clearly smitten with her. The day they tied the knot was bittersweet for me. I was her maid of honor, smiling through tears as I helped her into her gown, but deep down, I knew this would change everything. And it did. After their wedding, she moved overseas to live with Mark in his home country. We promised to stay close, and for a while, we did. We'd have weekly video calls, send each other care packages, and share every detail of our lives. But as the months rolled into years, those calls became less frequent. Life got busy for both of us. I threw myself into work, she built her married life, and the distance grew quietly between us. But despite all that, she was still my best friend. So when I finally got a week off work and a decent travel budget saved up, I decided to do something special. I would fly out to surprise her. I messaged Mark secretly to plan everything out. He was thrilled by the idea and promised to help. "She's going to cry when she sees you," he said over a video call, laughing. Booking the ticket was a whirlwind. It wasn't cheap, an international flight, plus a few days accommodations just in case, but it felt worth it. I missed her so much. I landed early on a Friday morning, exhausted but buzzing with excitement. Mark picked me up at the airport with a knowing smile, helping me load my bags into his car. "She has no idea," he whispered as we drove through the winding streets of their city. When we pulled up to their apartment, my heart pounded. Mark led me up the stairs, unlocked the door, and I stood there, holding my breath. Anna turned around from the kitchen, and the moment her eyes landed on me, she froze. "Oh my God," she screamed, rushing toward me. She threw her arms around me, tears streaming down her face. "What are you doing here? You're actually here?" We hugged for what felt like forever. I laughed, tears pricking my own eyes. "I told you I'd come visit one day." That night, we stayed up late, drinking wine, scrolling through old photos, and laughing until we were both hoarse. For a moment, it felt like no time had passed. Over the next 4 days, Anna and Mark took it upon themselves to show me everything their city had to offer. I'd traveled a lot for work before, but this trip felt special, not because of the place itself, but because of who I was with. Here's what we did. Day 1. We started simple. Mark drove us to a cozy cafe called Café Loom, tucked into a cobblestone street corner. It was a tiny spot with vintage decor, mismatched chairs, and a pastry selection that looked straight out of a Pinterest board. We ordered 3 cappuccinos, $4 each equals $12. 3 croissants, $3 each equals $9. A shared cheesecake slice, $6. Total, $27. Mark paid for this one, waving off my offer to cover it. Afterward, we spent the afternoon walking through the historic district, snapping photos, and exploring little boutiques. It was a beautiful, sunny day, and it felt so good to be side by side with her again, laughing and reminiscing. Day 2. Anna insisted I see the National History Museum. Entry tickets were $15 each, so for 3 of us, it came to $45. I offered to cover this one since they'd treated me to the cafe the day before. Inside, we spent hours exploring exhibits, joking around, and marveling at the dinosaur fossils. Mark was surprisingly knowledgeable about ancient civilizations, which made the trip even more entertaining. We grabbed lunch at a street food market afterward, trying everything from skewers to dumplings. I paid for lunch, which came to around $30 total. Day 3. On Saturday, Mark suggested a scenic drive to a nearby lake. It was about an hour out of the city, and along the way, we stopped for coffee and snacks. Gas for the trip cost $20, which Mark covered, but I insisted on paying for the snacks, $10. We spent the afternoon by the lake, soaking in the view and catching up. It felt like old times, only now we were adults with careers and responsibilities. That night, we splurged on dinner at a fancy restaurant called La Mariposa. It was beautiful, with candlelit tables and a stunning view of the city skyline. Dinner cost around $150 for the three of us. We decided to split it evenly, $1.50 each. Day 4. On my last morning, Anna took me to a little bistro she loved, Bistro Noir. It was small, cozy, and filled with the smell of freshly baked bread. I insisted on covering the bill as a thank you. Brunch cost $20 total. From my rough mental calculation, I paid about $155, Mark covered around $47, and Anna paid her share for dinner, $50. To me, that felt more than fair, no one was keeping score. At least, that's what I thought. Saying goodbye was harder than I expected. Anna hugged me tight at the airport, tears in her eyes. "Let's not wait another 5 years, okay," she said, her voice cracking. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Promise." On the flight home, I replayed the whole trip in my mind, smiling at the memories. It felt so good to have her back in my life, even for a few days. I thought about all the times we'd dreamed of traveling together as kids, and how this trip felt like the fulfillment of that promise. I landed late that night, exhausted but happy. I sent Anna a text as soon as I got home. "Made it safely. Thank you for everything this weekend. I love you and Mark so much." She responded with a heart emoji and a simple "Love you too. Rest well, red heart." Little did I know, less than 24 hours later, that warmth would evaporate. I woke up the morning after my return home feeling that pleasant post-vacation glow. You know the kind, your body's exhausted from travel, but your heart is full from the memories you made. My apartment felt quiet, almost too quiet after 4 days of laughter, late-night wine, and catching up with Anna and Mark. I'd unpacked most of my suitcase the night before and left my souvenirs on the kitchen counter, a little snow globe from the museum gift shop, a scarf I'd bought from a local vendor, and a framed photo Anna had insisted we take by the lake. I made myself a cup of coffee, sat on the couch, and decided to check my emails before diving back into reality. That's when I saw it. Subject: expenses from your trip. From Anna. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. Maybe she'd meant to send something to Mark, or maybe she was just documenting their own spending. But curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. What I saw made my stomach drop. Anna had written out a full, itemized receipt of every expense she claimed I owed her. "Hi Lena. I just went over our expenses from your visit and calculated your share. Here's the breakdown. Café Loom, coffee and pastries $9, your share. National History Museum, $15, your ticket. Scenic Drive, gas $10, split. La Mariposa dinner, $50, your share. Miscellaneous snacks and parking, $10. Total owed, $94. Please transfer by Friday. Thanks. Anna." I blinked at the screen, rereading it to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. She was charging me for gas? For a snack we'd shared in the car? And the museum ticket I had personally paid for? At first, I laughed. It had to be some kind of joke, right? But there was no wink, no haha, no friendly tone. Just a cold, businesslike email from my best friend of over a decade. The laughter faded quickly, replaced by a heavy, sinking feeling in my gut. I sat there for hours, staring at my laptop, reading the email over and over again. It wasn't about the money, $94 wasn't going to bankrupt me. But something about this made me feel betrayed. I had flown halfway across the world to surprise her. I'd spent nearly $1,200 on flights, plus gifts, plus covering multiple meals. And now she was nickel-and-diming me over snacks and gas? Part of me wanted to just send the money and move on. Maybe she was strapped for cash. Maybe I'd somehow offended her. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I'd actually spent more than her. So, I pulled out my notebook and receipts. Yes, I'm one of those people who saves receipts while traveling, and started calculating. Here's what I found. Café Loom, coffee/pastries, $27 Mark insisted on paying. National History Museum. $45. I paid for all tickets. Street food market lunch. $30 I covered. Scenic Drive gas. $20 which was split and I paid my share of $10. Snacks on Scenic Drive. $10 I covered. La Mariposa dinner. $150 and everyone paid their share of $50. Bistro Noir brunch. $20 I covered. When I totaled it, I'd spent $155, not including gifts I brought. She spent $50, her dinner share, plus nothing else significant. Mark spent about $47. If we were splitting things evenly, Anna actually owed me about $8. Not the other way around. I spent the whole evening debating how to respond. Should I ignore it? Just pay and keep the peace? But something about the tone of her email bothered me. This wasn't the Anna I knew. Finally, I drafted this. Hey Anna. Thanks for sending this over. I noticed a couple of the things you listed were actually covered by me, like the museum tickets, street food, and brunch, so I made a quick calculation. After balancing everything, it looks like you and Mark actually owe me about $8. Don't worry about paying me back. I just figured I'd even it out since you sent me the breakdown. Thanks again for such a great weekend. I loved every minute of it. Smiley face. Lena. I added the smiley face to soften the message. I hit send, thinking that would be the end of it. I was wrong. The next morning, my phone buzzed with notifications. Anna had sent a series of texts. Anna, wow. Just wow. Anna, you're seriously calculating like this after everything I did for you? Anna, I hosted you, I drove you around, I made time for you, and this is how you repay me? I was stunned. My hand shook as I typed back. I wasn't trying to upset you. I just thought since you sent me an invoice, we'd settle everything fairly. I didn't mean anything by it. Her reply came almost instantly. Anna, do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? Mark saw your email and now he thinks I'm cheap. You made me look like a fool in front of my husband. That's when I realized this wasn't about money. It was about pride. I tried again. Anna, I'm sorry if it came across that way. I wasn't trying to embarrass you. I just didn't expect a bill from my best friend, and I thought clarifying would help. But she wasn't calming down. Anna, you came here and took advantage of us. We drove you around, gave you a place to stay, entertained you. You're ungrateful. Ungrateful. The word stung. Later that evening, I got a message I didn't expect, from Mark. Mark, hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about Anna's email. I had no idea she sent you that invoice. You didn't do anything wrong. I hesitated but replied. Thanks for saying that. I honestly didn't mean to start anything. I just thought it was weird. Mark, it was weird. You flew all the way here to see her. That's a gift in itself. She's been stressed lately, but that's no excuse. I thanked him, but his next message made my stomach turn. Mark, we got into a fight over this. I told her she was being unfair. I'm staying at a friend's place for a few days to give her space. My heart sank. Their fight was over me. The next day, Anna called me. I picked up, hoping we could talk calmly. Instead, she started yelling. You're trying to come between me and Mark, she shouted. You've always been jealous of us. Don't think I don't see what you're doing. Anna, what are you talking about? I said, my voice shaking. I didn't do anything. You sent me a bill, and I just clarified what I paid for. That's it. Don't play innocent. He's staying with a friend because of you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My best friend of over a decade was accusing me of ruining her marriage, all because I pointed out that I'd paid for my share of things. After that call, I didn't reach out. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Anna's words kept replaying in my head, twisting like a knife. Had I really done something wrong? Should I have just paid the $94 and kept my mouth shut? But deep down, I knew this wasn't about the money. It was about something much bigger. Resentment, jealousy, pride, whatever it was, it had been brewing for a while, and this trip was just the spark that lit the fire. A few days later, I got another message from Mark. Mark, I told her I'm not coming back home until she apologizes. This isn't about you, okay? It's about how she treats people. Don't let her guilt you. But I did feel guilty. I hadn't meant to cause any drama. All I'd wanted was to see my best friend. For the next week, Anna and I barely spoke. When we did, it was cold and formal. The warmth we'd had just days earlier was gone, replaced by tension so thick I could feel it even through a screen. I spent hours scrolling through old photos of us, wondering how we got here. I thought back to our teenage years, sitting in her bedroom, sharing secrets late into the night, promising to be forever friends. And now, we were strangers. I couldn't help but wonder if this was the real reason we'd drifted apart over the years. Maybe the distance between us wasn't just physical, it had been growing quietly for years, and I just hadn't wanted to see it. The days after Anna's outburst were some of the hardest I'd experienced in years. My apartment felt emptier than ever, and the silence between us weighed on me like a heavy fog. I kept checking my phone out of habit, expecting a message from her, a meme, or even a random "I miss you," but all I got were curt one-word responses. It felt surreal that this was the same woman who had once been my safe place, my sister in everything but blood. And then came Mark's late-night call. It was almost midnight when my phone buzzed. I debated letting it ring, but something told me to pick up. "Hey," I said softly, my voice still hoarse from crying earlier. "Hey," Mark replied, sounding exhausted. "Sorry for calling so late." "It's okay. Is everything all right?" He sighed deeply, and I could hear faint chatter in the background, probably from wherever he was staying. "Not really. I just wanted to check in. I know Anna's been saying some stuff to you, and I don't want you blaming yourself." "I don't know what to think anymore," I admitted. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I feel like I broke you guys up." "Stop," Mark said firmly. "This isn't your fault. Anna's been struggling for a while. She's been resentful, even before you came. I think seeing you fly out here, paying for things so easily, reminded her of how tight money's been for us. She took it out on you, and I won't let her make you the villain in this." His words stung. I'd had no idea Anna and Mark were struggling financially. She'd never mentioned it, never hinted at any resentment. She'd always been the strong, confident one. "Have you talked to her?" I asked. "Yeah. She's doubling down. She keeps saying you humiliated her by sending that reply. She says I'm taking your side over hers." I needed to get out of the house for a bit. I pressed my forehead into my palm. "Mark, I'm so sorry. Don't be. You've been nothing but kind to us. This isn't on you. Honestly, I think this is a wake-up call for both of us." A few days later, Anna called me again. "Why are you talking to Mark behind my back?" she snapped as soon as I picked up. "Anna, he called me. He wanted to make sure I was okay." "Oh, so now you're both worried about poor, innocent you," she said bitterly. "You've always liked him, haven't you?" I froze. "What?" "Anna, that's insane. He's your husband." Don't lie to me. I can see it now, the way you look at him, the way you." "Anna." I interrupted, my voice rising. "Enough. I came to see you. I spent thousands of dollars, took time off work, and flew across the world because I missed my best friend. And you're accusing me of, what? Trying to steal your husband? Over what, a $94 bill?" She went silent. "I'm done apologizing," I said, my voice trembling. "I've loved you like a sister for over a decade, and I would have done anything for you. But this? This isn't you. I don't know who you are anymore." The silence on the other end stretched on. Finally, she said coldly, "Then maybe we shouldn't talk for a while." And just like that, the call ended. The following weeks were a blur of emotions. Part of me wanted to fight for our friendship. Part of me wanted to hop back on a plane, bang on her door, and remind her of all the years we'd been inseparable. But another part of me was tired. Tired of being blamed for things I didn't do. Tired of being made to feel guilty for trying to do something good. Mark reached out a few times, updating me on their situation. "She's staying with her sister for a few days. We're starting counseling. It's not good, but I'm hoping we can work through it. She still thinks you're trying to ruin our marriage. I don't know how to change her mind." It hurt to know Anna had built this narrative in her head. I wanted to shake her and scream, "I love you, I would never do this to you," but I knew it wouldn't help. Eventually, I stopped replying as much. Mark didn't need to be in the middle of this any more than he already was. I spent a lot of nights scrolling through old photos of us. There we were at 17, grinning in our prom dresses, clutching each other like we'd never let go. There we were at 20, moving into our first apartments, eating instant noodles on the floor because we didn't have furniture yet. I remembered every sleepover, every late-night heart-to-heart, every "I love you" we'd exchanged. She'd been my anchor through heartbreak, family drama, and career struggles. I'd always thought nothing could break us. And now, it was over. Not with a bang, but with an email invoice. One night, I drafted a long message to her. "Anna, I don't know what happened to us. I came to see you because I missed you. Not because I wanted to hurt you, or Mark, or your pride. I thought we'd laugh, cry, and reconnect. Instead, we're here, and I feel like I've lost my sister. I'm not angry at you. I'm heartbroken. I hope you find peace, and I hope you remember I'll always love you, even if this is goodbye. But I never sent it. I saved it in my drafts and closed my laptop. Weeks turned into months. We didn't talk. The last update I got was from Mark, who sent a simple message. We're still in counseling. She's working through some stuff. I hope you're okay. I replied, I hope she's okay too. That was the last time I heard from either of them. It's been almost a year now. Sometimes, I'll be walking through the city and see something that reminds me of her, a cafe with mismatched chairs like Café Loom, a scarf that looks like the one she wore at the lake, or a pastry that tastes like the ones we used to share. And for a moment, I feel that pang of grief. Because losing a best friend isn't like losing a lover. It's deeper. It's losing a piece of yourself. I don't hate Anna. I don't even blame her. I think life just changed us. Maybe we'd been drifting apart for years, and I'd been too stubborn to see it. Maybe the trip was just the spark that lit a fire already smoldering beneath the surface. Sometimes friendships don't end with betrayal or screaming matches. Sometimes they end quietly, with resentment over something as trivial as $94. But the truth is, that $94 wasn't the real cost. The real cost was losing the girl I'd grown up with, the one I thought I'd have by my side forever. And that's a debt I'll never be able to pay back. I still keep the framed photo we took by the lake on my bookshelf. We're smiling, arms wrapped around each other, the sunlight glinting off the water behind us. Sometimes I wonder if Anna still has hers, or if she threw it away in anger. But I can't bring myself to get rid of mine. Because even though she's no longer in my life, she's still part of my story. And maybe, one day, she'll look back and realize that I wasn't the enemy. That I was just a friend who missed her so much. I crossed an ocean for one last chance to feel like we were sisters again. And that's how a surprise trip meant to celebrate years of friendship turned into an itemized invoice and a shattered marriage. Do you think Anna was right to send that bill, or was Lena justified in standing her ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your takes on these wild stories. And if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click one of the videos you see on your screen now, because I've got plenty more drama where this came from.